11-month-old and a 6-year-old boy that their mom's dead. You don't ever get undead at the hands of a punk who was upset because he didn't get enough Christmas presents from his mom. All right, so we're here this morning to talk about a homicide that happened here in Largo on Christmas Eve, December 24th at about 1:45 p.m. The victim in the homicide is Abriel Baldwin, a 23-year-old black female. Her date of birth is May 5th of 2000. She went by the name of Bree and was a mom to 2 boys, a 6-year-old and an 11-month-old. The incident happened at 2357 22nd Avenue Southwest in Largo. We've arrested 2 people, and I'll explain the incident as to what happened. The first person that was arrested is DeMarcus Coley. He's a 14-year-old black male. Date of birth is May 2nd, 2009. And he's been charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and being a delinquent in possession of a firearm. The second is Darcus Coley. He's a 15-year-old black male. Date of birth is January 31st, 2008. And his charges are attempted first-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. And both of them are in the photographs to my left, to your right, and they're brothers. So this is what happened. On Christmas Eve, as I said, December 24th, Abriel Baldwin, her 10-month-old son, her 6-year-old son, her 14-year-old brother DeMarcus, her 15-year-old brother Darcus, and their mother, Joyce Birch, who's a black female with a date of birth of June 25th, 1984, went Christmas shopping at a store here in Largo. While they're shopping, 15-year-old Darcus was jealous that their mother, Joyce, was getting 14-year-old DeMarcus more gifts than he was receiving. So they had this family spat about who was getting what and what money was being spent on who, and they're having this big thing going on in the store, and they're all arguing with each other. They left the store and headed to their grandmother's house, which is where the incident happened, at 2357 22nd Avenue Southwest in Largo. They all piled into one car, and they were heading over to her house. The Coleys, along with Joyce Birch, lived at 608 Westminster Boulevard in Oldsmar. They were going to their grandmother's house because she was going to watch Bree's 6-year-old and 11-month-old baby when she went to work. So they got there to this house on 22nd Avenue Southwest at about 1:45 p.m. on Sunday. Darcus, who's the 15-year-old, entered the home and went into the kitchen with his grandmother. DeMarcus, the 14-year-old, stood in the doorway because, again, they're all arguing, and they're having this big spat about what happened while shopping and who's getting what and who didn't get what for Christmas. So this is just normal what people do when they have these young kids getting spats like this. And of course, I'm saying this sarcastically because he's all mad at his brother about what his brother was getting and is not getting. He stood in the doorway and he took out his .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun and he pointed it at Darcus and told him he was going to shoot him in the head. So you got the 14-year-old who's mad at the 15-year-old because mom's not buying equal amounts of gifts. They get to grandma's house and he takes out his gun and tells him he's going to shoot him in the head. So DeMarcus tries to get Darcus to fight. Darcus said he didn't want to fight and told him to get out of the house and he didn't want anything to do with him. One of the boys' uncles was present in the home and he separated them by moving DeMarcus out of the house and moving him out into the driveway area. This is the house here to my right, again to your left, and that's the door where he was standing into, and that's the driveway area that he moved him out to where this happened. And so DeMarcus left the doorway. Darcus is still in the house in the kitchen. DeMarcus was standing by a parked vehicle in the driveway when Abriel told DeMarcus, quote, "You all need to leave that stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas." And at that point, Abriel was in the driveway and she was carrying her 10-month-old baby in a carrier in her hand. DeMarcus then began arguing with Abriel and used some very, very derogatory language that I won't repeat at all, and all kinds of profanity. He was calling her a whore and all kinds of other stuff, and stated that he was going to shoot her and that he was going to, quote, shoot the baby too. DeMarcus then moved toward Abriel and shot her in the chest with a .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun, again, while she's carrying the baby. Abriel fell to the ground, so did the baby. The baby wasn't hurt because the baby was in a carrier. So when DeMarcus falls to the ground, Darcus comes out of the house. And again, Darcus is 15, and he takes out his .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun because, again, and I'll say this sarcastically, just normal that all these kids, that's what you do, right? You just carry handguns. When you get in a spat with your sibling, you take out your guns and you have a gun battle. So he takes out his gun and tells DeMarcus, so Darcus tells DeMarcus, quote, you shot my MF sister, and then Darcus shot DeMarcus one time in the stomach. So DeMarcus falls to the ground, and when Darcus shot DeMarcus, DeMarcus was unarmed. And there's about an 8-second gap between the time that DeMarcus shot Bree and then Darcus comes out and shoots DeMarcus, and when he shot him, he no longer had possession of the gun. Darcus, the 15-year-old, then ran, threw his gun in a nearby yard, fled to a relative's house up in Clearwater, where we subsequently arrested him. Unfortunately, Abriel Baldwin was transported to Largo Medical Center Hospital here in Largo with a single gunshot wound to her chest, and she was pronounced dead at the hospital. Basically, the round went in through her left arm into her chest area, went across, went into both lungs, all kinds of internal bleeding. She bled out and it popped both lungs. She couldn't breathe. DeMarcus was transported to a hospital where he underwent surgery. He's in custody, remains in the hospital, is in stable condition, and upon release, he'll be transferred to the custody of the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice. The Pinellas-Pasco State Attorney's Office is going to review the case and decide whether to charge DeMarcus as an adult with the first-degree murder of his sister. Darcus, again, the 15-year-old, made self-harm statements after we picked him up at the location where he was in Clearwater, and he is right now in a secure mental health facility, and he'll be charged with attempted first-degree murder and tampering with evidence and transported to the Pinellas Juvenile Assessment Center upon his release from the mental health facility. The .40 caliber handgun that DeMarcus used to shoot his sister was recovered at the scene, and the .45 caliber handgun that Darcus used to shoot DeMarcus has not been recovered. Again, when he ran, he tossed it in the backyard. We've searched that area out there. We can't find it. And the unfortunate reality is probably going to be used in the next crime because somebody picked it up. As you can see behind me in the photograph, DeMarcus, again, the 14-year-old, recently posted a photo to Snapchat pointing the gun that he used to kill his sister at the camera. So this is within the last couple days, and this is a Snapchat photo. That's DeMarcus pointing that gun, which is this gun, which we recovered there at the scene, which is the gun that he used to kill his sister. So there's the Snapchat photo, and there's the gun that he used to kill his sister. According to many people that we interviewed out there, all kinds of people, family members, young, old, everybody across the board, is that both DeMarcus and Darcus carried guns all the time. They routinely carried firearms on them. So how are they getting these guns? Well, it's real easy. They're getting them because they're either buying them on the street cheap, and they're all stolen guns. And for these two guys, they're getting them because they're stealing them from unlocked cars. They're out in the middle of the night doing car burglaries. Both DeMarcus and Darcus were arrested for committing numerous car burglaries in Oldsmar, where they live on Westminster Avenue, back in May of this year. DeMarcus, the 14-year-old, has arrests dating back to when he was 12 years old. Think about this. He has arrests dating back to when he was 12. He's only 14 now, okay, but 2 years ago he has arrests for being a minor in possession of a gun, grand theft auto burglaries, loitering and prowling, disorderly conduct, battery on a school employee, and battery on a law enforcement officer. He's only 14. Darcus was also arrested in May for committing numerous auto burglaries. Many of those cases are still pending. In the dispositions with DeMarcus previously is that, what's he get? Probation. December of 2014, Charlie Condek, Tarpon Springs police officer, shot and killed. Where did the gun come from that killed Officer Condek? An unlocked car burglary, because people leave their guns in their cars. So now you got a 11-month-old and a 6-year-old boy that their mom's dead. You don't ever get undead at the hands of a punk who was upset because he didn't get enough Christmas presents from his mom. And it's ridiculous. Anybody got any questions?
You mentioned grandma and uncle were home at the time. Were they involved in any way? How are they doing at this point?
Well, I mean, they were involved in it. You know, the uncle tried to separate them. They knew that it was going south. They knew that they were arguing. And again, everybody, really everybody, knew that these guys carried guns all the time.
Sheriff, you were really specific there on the length of time between the two shots being fired. Just curious how you can be that specific.
There's an audio recording of it.
911 was called or something.
That was so. There's a neighbor that has outdoor cameras, and while the shooting itself is not captured on the cameras, the audio of the shooting is. So you can hear shot, and then 8 seconds later, the second shot. That's how we know.
Can you just, you've said a few words already, can you just say a little bit more about Abriel and what you know about her, and now, you know, she's got 2 kids, well, what's going to happen to them now?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I guess mom, grandma, you know, somebody will step in, take over. She was working at an assisted living facility. She's just a woman going about life, doing her thing with her 2 kids, trying to make a living, trying to make it, and, you know, her brother killed her. And why did her brother kill her? Because what she said was, knock it off. Leave it alone. Why are you doing this? It's Christmas. Why are you getting all upset? So he goes over and puts a bullet in her, tears up her insides, and kills her. Leaves her dead in the driveway.
Where are you at in terms of the testing of the firearm you do have? I assume you'll try to figure out if someone ever reported this gun stolen.
We have some systems that we can use through the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, through ATF, where we can check the projectiles to see if that gun has been used in other crimes. And we're in the process of doing that. That takes some time. Now, the second gun that Darcus had, we haven't recovered. We've got casings from it, from the firing of the firearm, but we don't have the firearm itself. Like I said, that's still out on the street, unfortunately.
Both of them have equal type histories and charges?
Actually, DeMarcus has more than Darcus does. Darcus's history isn't that extensive. DeMarcus's history is pretty extensive.
Yeah. And you said he was shot in the stomach. Is he still in the hospital right now?
He is.
What's his condition?
He's stable. He's torn up pretty good. His intestines, they had to remove part of his intestines and do some other things in surgery, but he's stable. He'll be in the hospital, probably the best projection. I just got off the phone before I came down here. Best projection is he'll probably be in the hospital for about a week or so. And then again, we'll transfer him to the Department of Juvenile Justice custody once he's released from the hospital. All right, thanks everybody.